And this is your first game this year?
Yes, it is.
Is this maybe the latest first game for you in forever?
For sure. Yeah, because I think even in years like the last 5 years, say, where it's just been a lot of despair, there's tickets around, and John Gale will want to go, or Owen would like to go, whatever. It's just it's easy enough to find your way in, and I would usually do that. And for some reason this year, it just never lined up. That I could make that happen. I mean, I had opportunities; it just never happened. And this invite came a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "Yeah, all right, absolutely, I'm in." So I've even had. I mean, my Owen's got a press pass this year. He goes and is watching and covering home games, and I think he'll be doing that again tonight. And I've thought a few times about just going and doing that with him, sitting in the press box. As I haven't been up there in a long time, but I have not followed through on that. So yes, tonight will be my first time in the building.
Minus 120. It's big. It's big.
Second place.
I mean, second place, but I'm still racing against what's behind me mostly. I think when I watched last night, watching the league and looking at the standings, I see Columbus. I see the Islanders. I see, Boston, right? I mean, even maybe Florida, but I'm still trying to just get in my mind. Maybe, Did I sound different earlier in the week? I don't know. Last night worked on me a little bit, and now it's Pittsburgh, and I don't want to end on a loss going into the break. Mm-hmm. So just I'm looking over my shoulder, I guess I'm saying.
Yeah, well, last night was tricky in that way because on one hand, that game started, I think Boston jumped out to a 2-0 lead. I was watching, but I missed the very beginning. But I think they got out to a 2-0 lead.
Maybe 2-1.
Okay, and then I lost it for a bit. I started watching who the heck was Montreal playing? I started watching that.
Jets.
And they just I turned that on 1-1. Like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. I think they got to an intermission in the Boston game, so I'm gonna watch. I settled in, and then it was 3-1. Like 5 minutes after I turned it on, Montreal scored 2 quick goals to take a 2-goal lead, and so I went back to the Boston game. And by the time I got back into it, Florida was ahead, and Owen and I had been talking about it. Like, what do we want here? You can further bury Florida, but I'm sort of racing right now with Boston for one of these, top 2 or 3 spots in the division. They're tied with Buffalo and Montreal, I think, right now, right? 70 points. I don't have the standings open in front of me, but I think that's where we stand.
You don't?
No, I don't. I would if I were there, but I don't. I didn't.
Montreal 72.
Okay.
Detroit 72. Buffalo 70, Boston 69.
Okay.
Pittsburgh 68, Islanders 67, Columbus 65. Anyway.
Okay, so a Boston win would have tied them with Buffalo. The way the Buffalo get into second is they've played fewer games than Detroit and Montreal, so they'll leapfrog both of them if they win tonight. I think is what we've got.
They have one fewer game than Montreal. They would be tied with them, and I think maybe have them on wins.
Yeah. Okay. So, do I want to bury a team that you should maybe be worried about getting healthier if they ever get Barkov back, etc., or do I want to try to hold one of these teams that I'm duking it out with for these top spots in the division at bay? And you can make a case for either one, like you're saying, like looking behind you further down. I don't want to take for granted that the Sabres aren't going to lose 3 or 4 in a row at some point, and maybe that'll be really damaging because everybody. Multiple teams are winning every night in that cluster. It just seems like that's par for the course at this point. So you got to kind of keep pace, and the Sabres have been furiously hot, but they have not separated from that cluster, in the middle of that division. So it's hard to sort of pick and choose, but mostly you just don't want overtime, which is what you got last night. Ultimately a shootout with Florida and Boston. And that was too bad. And then, now tonight is another one. Do you want to just Tampa and Florida play? Do you want to just let Tampa go? Do you think you can track them down for the first spot in the division? I mean, that might be lofty.
Yes, it is lofty.
And, so I think maybe you'd rather get to them, let them win in regulation and keep Florida at bay.
I think the Sabres just had their best look at Tampa 2 nights ago. Not that they can't beat them in a game. I mean, hockey teams lose games, but
Tampa was down some serious.
They're down guys. They're down a goal with a minute left.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of really could have won. I don't think we're winning Jack Adams unless the Sabres win a couple games against Tampa and make up some of that ground. I mean, ever since Wyshynski was on, it was like, John Cooper's never won. And everything, I always got that article about the awards markets. Oh, he's never won.
Yeah,
it's going to be
a
lifetime award. And, if they win the division again, so be it. But, it's probably right that a coach of a team that wins a lot should be considered at least, if not win the Coach of the Year award, and not just the team whose coaches, had the best save percentage and shooting percentage, like we talked about with him. I don't know. I've got two things. I've got 15 years of scar tissue and relative indifference, and I've got 26 games left. I can't not look behind me. You talk about running. I think when you're running, like competitively, you're looking ahead. You don't look over your shoulder. You just look at the person in front of you and try to run them down. Like if you're actually literally running competitively, that's what you do. Mm-hmm. But I can't help it. I've got too many years of not. The point of this year was to get in. And maybe they're good enough where they can top that. But the point of this year was to get in and end it. They changed out the general manager who probably never should have been hired in the first place, and they're right here. And now we're going to have almost 3 weeks of, to whatever extent we want to discuss it, what about this team? What about this team? How many teams really will be dead after tonight? One? If we were the Devils, maybe we would know it because we'd have 14 years of a drought. But, a lot of these teams, maybe we wouldn't say this about Florida, but we'd say it about Ottawa. The bottom four in the East, we might just not think about at all, if not many more teams, if not more teams than that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Would you not say this? Give me a first round against anybody. If it's Tampa, okay. If it's Carolina, okay. Whoever else it is, it's not as good. Like, just give me a series. Give me life. Give me a chance. And then I think we're back. Then I think it's onward. It's, whatever changes with the roster. But they're so young in so many important areas. I feel like next year we're going to be optimistic. I think that would erase the history or just put it behind us. And if they don't make it, especially from this position, then it'll just be like the same, only worse. Where there's a lot there. I obviously the scar tissue point. I mean, I totally get it. I feel like, of course, like you just alluded to, from where they are right now to miss would be just a colossal collapse, I think. It could happen. It probably has happened that a team that – are they in like the 90% to make it? No, maybe at best. Like it would not be a collapse historically or mathematically. It would be an emotional one.
Yeah.
For anybody that's bought back in, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I have bought back in to how good they are that this is scary to say. I'm assuming they're going to make it, which is why I'm looking ahead and not behind me. I just don't see a team that's played as well as they have played for as long as they have played here, getting 3 weeks off and coming back and just it all goes away. It is hockey. The margins are slim, and, a lot of games like Tuesdays in Tampa could not go your way, and, there's your losing streak, right? And it can go poof pretty quickly. I'm maybe unreasonably confident in this team right now. I think they have been one of the best teams in the league for more than a month. And I want to trust that despite the scar tissue. So I'm thinking about second place and home ice advantage and hopefully avoiding Tampa or Carolina in a wild card spot and dealing with, Montreal, Detroit, or Boston or whomever ends up there with us. I don't think that that's unreasonable right now from the spot that they're in. And, thinking about them falling out doesn't really allow for anyone else to get cold either. I've made the point here about just this division, how hot everybody, the top 5 in this division have been running so hot. That is not going to continue. Now, the Sabres could be the one team that falls out. I recognize that. But I just think there's enough here and enough other teams that won't just keep winning 3 out of every 4 or 8 out of every 10, like most of the division has been doing for almost the entire time the Sabres been on this streak.
It almost literally cannot happen. I mean, there had to be some strange scheduling where these teams did not play each other. The Sabres did play Montreal 3 times in like 2 weeks.
Right.
But, I mean, they haven't played anybody else on that list until the last game. And they haven't seen Tampa at all. So I guess it was possible.
Boston in there for a home game after the 10-game streak ended.
Okay.
They did see them once, but
okay.
They haven't seen Detroit in a while. You mentioned Tampa just now, finally, for the first time all year. I mean, February, whatever the date was on Tuesday, that's pretty late to play a division rival.
For the first time.
Yeah.
I think we'll see what happens. I think the Lightning might be the only team right now where I would say the Sabres are really in tough. I mean, even Carolina, I kind of love that. I'd love to there's a lot of emotion in this. It's a little bit of found money if they make it. And it won't feel like that, when we stand up for the anthems in game 1 or game 3, whatever the case may be. It won't feel like found money, but it really kind of is. I mean, when think about, I don't have to tell you this, when they made the Adams move, it was like such a relief. Such maybe a wake-up call to everybody, to them, to the league. It was never going to be the playoffs. Like that, it was whether you needed to trade Alex Tuck. It was whether, what else, whether you waive a goalie. Like it was never, whether Lindy makes it. It was never going to be Lindy was supposed to go too, wasn't he? Like it was.
Or upstairs or something. Yeah.
There was the same rumor at the same time that people were telling us that Adams was going to go, that maybe Lindy was going too. Like was it really an effort to save the season, or was it just to save your self-respect and your credibility, whatever was left as a franchise? And then you had a 20-game, 20 out of 24 or whatever it was, and now you're here. I think I would just melt if I were lucky enough, like 2006, to be in there, no matter who they play.
Mm-hmm.
If it's Sidney Crosby's Penguins, somehow, if it's Montreal or Boston or Detroit would be so interesting because they've never had the playoffs with Detroit. That's...
And they're also riding a 10-season streak of not making it.
Okay, like... That's never been a thing, the Sabres and the Red Wings in the playoffs, but they're just down the road. Like they're way closer to us than Boston or Montreal are. Mm-hmm. So there could be sort of road trips. If it's Tampa and we're sort of still in the world where they rule the East, and then it would be like a big upset. Still, like I'm back in it. Mm-hmm. The drought is over. Anybody else, whoever it might be, I mean, just bring it on.
Well, I will. I certainly. I don't think this will surprise you, and hopefully not a lot of our audience. I mean, I'll be happy to make my peace with whatever happens. If they fall even to the second wild card spot and have to play Tampa or Carolina or however that'll shake out. I guess it would be whichever one has the better record would be who they would see. In that case, everything you just said about in the building or watching the build up to it, it's going to be cathartic and fantastic. But for now, until I'm not that worried about missing out on that by hoping for bigger is all. I mean, they're to me, we've seen them on the ice. We haven't seen them for a while with Detroit. And I have mentioned, I haven't really sat. Detroit played at 9 last night. I saw the tail end of the first period. They were already down 2-0, and I just didn't stay with it.
Utah.
But we've seen them 3 times in the last 2 weeks, like you just alluded to with Montreal. That's a team you're fighting with, and those teams to me are basically equals. They might have the same questions too. They've got a lot of youth that they're maybe counting on, maybe even more so than Buffalo. It's been more productive. Demidov and Hudson are already two of the best players on their team, whereas Osland and Helenu say are more still role players waiting to see if they can be trusted. But goaltending's a question to some degree. They've played 3 guys through the year. They really haven't settled on who's the guy. If the playoffs started tomorrow, I don't know what they do, and I'm not sure what Buffalo would do if everybody were healthy. Luukkonen right now is not, so I would assume it would be line. But you get the point. Like they're not, to me, like outclassed by any of these teams around them. So go do it. You're right there with them right now. You can pass 2 of them tonight with a win of any kind.
I just don't know what bigger, as you put it, is really worth. Like I'm still, this is the scar tissue point a little bit. We get to the NHL playoffs, to whatever extent I'm invested in it intellectually or emotionally. I almost, with the rare exception, I really don't care about like who had more points or who has home ice, which is, I guess, the same thing. Because it's more just like it's super random, and I also don't care about like who's hot. I just kind of want to look at odds and whatever else there is, and I think the Sabres would have to fit into that same boat.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This is not to push back on any point against who to root for, because rooting is just for you. Like it's not meaningful.
Yeah.
But like I just think. Well, the only thing that really matters is getting in for me, and we're not there yet.
Right.
And
well, the point of trying to trying to chase the bigger prize is avoiding Tampa or Carolina. And okay. I think those 2 teams are teams I would not comfortably say. I mean, I know Buffalo played a great game the last time they were in Carolina and got goalied to death. And, they were right there with Tampa again, but Tampa was pretty banged up on Tuesday, missing like 3 of their centers. I think those 2 teams are. I would not say about them what I just said about Detroit, Montreal, Boston.
Okay, that's a cut above.
And then anybody else behind them. Like, if I can avoid them, that's a worthy cause. I think because I have a better chance of maybe somebody upsetting them. Who knows? And I've got a more compatible opponent in round 1.
And I think there's just too much time left, where these things can change. Just like Buffalo wasn't going to go another 20-4, Tampa is not going to go another 20-2. They're good, but I think there's. I bet in 6 weeks, it's going to look different. Maybe not. Maybe it'll just sort of be the same sort of tier group. Mm-hmm. But it probably will look different. I just hope we're still in the conversation.
I was thinking about this, and I never looked today, and I could do it during the break. But if you happen to have like this any kind of schedule up, when does the season end? Like how many days have we got left? You mentioned
June 8th.
20. What did you say?
June 8th is the last regular season game this year because of the Olympics. It's super late.
Okay, that I know that's not right. 26 games. In my head yesterday, I was thinking it might be like in 50 days.
Yeah, maybe. It's April 15th.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, like mid-April at the latest. And I think that's about that. Like that's a game every other day for what are we talking about? Like, a month and a half.
Right.
That is hardcore.
Good thing they're young. Good thing the Sabres are young.
Yes.
That should help them.
Right.
I don't think Tampa is.